July 5th. Yesterday was July 4th. I hope you guys had an ER free day. FYI, where I live, dude, fireworks were lit. They were going off like crazy. It sounded like a fucking war, dude, honestly, at the end of the day. So, that was really it was really interesting, like hearing everything yesterday. For myself, I kept things pretty low key. I didn't really do too much. I just chilled with friends, got some work done, just kind of took some time to relax and stuff. And kind of take the time to reflect a little bit. Yesterday was actually these last 2 days. I actually haven't really needed to. I haven't been working that much at all. Really, honestly, I've just been focusing on sleeping as much as I can because been kind of going through. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Appreciate it, y'all. If you guys are just tuning in, smash me a like, shoot me a question. This is really, if you guys are new to my streams, it's really where I spend the next I say 30 minutes, but typically it's about an hour to just serve guys and just serve back in the community, help answer people's questions and stuff, and just go from there. But in between your questions, I usually banter quite a bit and just like give some thoughts on stuff. What is your favorite? A bit of weight. Um, Yesterday, what I did was, hold on for a second. Let's open my Fitness Pal. I actually recently increased my kcals to, it was 1800 during quarantine. Now, since I'm working out again, it's at 2200. But yesterday, what I ate was I ate mussels. I ate ribeye. I ate some beef tongue, and I ate Quest peanut butter chocolate chip cookie. And I was gonna eat my salad, but I didn't, so whatever. But that was pretty much all I ate. I mean, in the past, like even for Fourth of July barbecues and stuff, what I usually, I mean, back in the day when I was in high school and stuff, like we would just throw like burgers on. It was the most basic stuff because it wouldn't be like fancy stuff at all. It would be like Bubba burgers or like even those like dry ass like patties that you find at Stop and Shop or something like that, or sorry, your local grocery store or whatnot. But those were the times, man. Like people were underage drinking back in the day. We used to do some ratchet ass shit. We used to light our own fireworks. Not gonna lie, I kind of miss those memories, like those childhood memories with my friends and stuff. That's one thing I really do miss about home. By the way, so yeah, I really do miss those times, to be honest with you. So it just had me thinking a lot, because right now we're in a weird time where there's coronavirus and stuff like that, and it's just a really, like, everybody's supposed to be isolating and whatnot, but I don't know. I honestly feel so disconnected, and recently I've just been having, I don't know. I'm a very extroverted person, so being private life is kind of depressing for myself too. So yeah, we got another question. Does does pharmacy school have classes where C is 90% to pass? There is like, I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of, so here's the thing. I haven't been really looking into pharmacy schools too much. But from what I hear, I mean, it's pretty much easy as hell to get into pharmacy. And that's gonna ruin our profession if it's not ruined already, man. Just because back in the day there was some sort of standard, but as less and less people are disinterested in going into pharmacy, um, because of one, maybe RX Comedy's videos or my videos as well, telling people the truth about the existing pharmacy, what's happening in pharmacy right now. Um, it's it's no surprise to me because they're a business. They really want to they essentially, what they really want to do is kind of increase their emission rates and stuff like that as well, because they need to scam someone, right? So that's what's happening. But I don't know. Not saying it's a scam, because I think you can get sued for calling someone a scam potentially. But yeah. Armor Ghost has Kevin Yee to complete Sunday Fun Day. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Armor Ghost? Thank you. Thank you for a like, some other people. Really appreciate it. And I was actually really touched, man, like, because last week's stream went really well. Just like serving y'all. So I just, it just felt really good after last week's stream. So I'm glad that so many people are just tuning into these weekly live streams. Fun fact, if you guys want to see my, a lot of videos queued up as well. So that's a sneak peek. I'll probably upload later this week. I gotta do thumbnails, SEO, and all that. Just recently hired a editor too, so he's editing on my back end, really doing the transition plan, and I should be able to pump out content like I used to, and just have the channel support itself. So I'm just really happy about that. Okay, so next thing is Brent Savage says, how hard is pharmacy school pass and why are people failing? Thanks. So many different issues, man. I mean, it's just like anything. I mean, there's some people who just F off during the pharmacy semester and they don't really put 100% into it. They're not focused or they lose motivation about what's actually happening. So that's what's happening as well. Let's see. But in terms of like how hard is pharmacy school pass, I don't know, my man. I have no idea, my man, because it's been a long time since I've been to pharmacy school as well. So it's that. Do you know the Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro? Is that worth buying? Not quite sure, to be honest with you. I haven't been looking at it too much in terms of that. That thing costs $350. It's really interesting seeing Apple's strategy, like in terms of marketing, because they really hit really high end or hit really low end essentially as well. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I think I need to hearing a lot of lag right now. Fuck, dude. Sorry to hear about that, man. Oh yeah, Kevin Yee stream best part Sunday. That's right, baby. What is it like to wear the Refugee Hustle merch? I honestly love my merch. Like I just wear my merch all the time. And it's not because I like to self-promote, but I really like the logo and stuff. It's kind of like a martial arts logo if you can't tell. And then also the material is really, really, really great itself too. So I just love that as well. So if you want to catch your own merch, you can go refugeehustle.com/shop and pick up your merch there. I believe I have it set up to where either 100 or 20% or some amount of percent is going to the UN refugee agency or something like that, where they help refugees around the world. That's important to me. In the future, I'm thinking about donating like proceeds to different charities, like a different parts of my income. I was watching Charles Poliquin. If you guys don't know who Charles Poliquin is, he's a world-renowned strength coach. He teaches people. He teaches Olympians and stuff too, as well. So it's just really interesting. He donates 10%. When he was alive, he donated 10% of all his income to different causes, like saving Filipino like children from sex trafficking and stuff like that. And honestly, I just kind of want to go and kind of give back to that community too. Is it lagging for anyone? It's probably lagging for a lot of people. I just got a message saying that they throttled my internet. I don't know what's happening, man. Sorry. Chat froze. Kevo, did Kevo run into a stream lag? Yes, sir. Nicole says, I've been looking. Yes, lag. Yeah, same, it's lagging. Sorry to hear about that. Thanks, Armor Ghost. Uh-oh. Is YouTube censoring Kevin? Lol, could be. I don't know. Damn, so we just got lag. Talking about farm now, wrong thing. I've been looking for you. I sent you emails. DM you. Please, I need you help. Nicole, I've actually answered all my emails. If you want to shoot me another email, I'm more than happy to answer, but I'm pretty much all caught up on emails. I spent last week replying to everyone, so everybody's pretty much caught up. There's only like 2 emails pending, but I got those like within the last 2 days. So shoot me an email there. Instagram, I've just been kind of offline for a bit, just because there's so much noise. I just don't want to. I can't distract myself with all this social media crap happening at the moment. So there's that. Security is the easiest job ever. I'm getting paid around to and smoke weed. I'm not sure if your employer wants to know that you're smoking weed, but it's all good. Thanks for keeping content going. Only wish the best for you and your channel. Fun fact, me and Nathan, we actually did a podcast recently. He's a really young, motivated 16-year-old. Nathan, feel free to drop in your link and stuff. I'll approve it on the chat if my computer is not still lagging. I don't know why it's lagging so much. I gotta run a test. I gotta run a free like test. Apparently, I have 16 gigabytes of RAM on this, and only 4 is available, which is pretty freaking crazy. I don't know what's eating up my resources. Um, let's see. Armor Ghost wants a job at security. Uh, Armor Ghost is also saying that have you bought the Refugee Hustle mask yet? You know, it's pretty interesting. Do I have my mask with me? Oh no, I probably left it in the car. But I actually have the AO and TO like mask as well. So that's the mask I use half the time as well. So yeah. Um. All right. Hey Kev, and thank you for the likes. Appreciate it, y'all who are dropping in. And by the way, Nicole, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in here too. Maybe I can answer on the fly so you don't have to wait. Um, let's see. Hey Kev, I've always been a scrawny Asian boy. Any tips on giving buffer? Well, you know, there was a period of my time when I was really into powerlifting. There was a period of my life where I could rip like 520 off the ground and stuff like that from my deadlifts. I wasn't the strongest, but I've always been kind of strength heavy for most part. People have always said I was strong, but I was never like super strong. You know those like freaks in the gym where they like like literally they just bench like 4 plates like nothing, and it's just like I was never one of those guys. But I think one of the things that really helps for strength at least is something like a strength lifting program. So like going on something like a powerlifting program, adjusting your macronutrients and stuff. But if you're not training already, a really great program to start off on is whoa, hold on. Let me turn that off too. So there's no echo. But something like strong lifts like 5x5, strong lift 5x5, or a what's that called? 5-3-1 is really great just for starting out if you're totally new to weightlifting. Focusing on the basics and stuff, increasing your weight by 5 pounds every single, even less if you like at the beginning you can get away with 5 pounds, but later gets harder and harder and stuff. But even as I get older, I realize it's harder to do the same like numbers I used to do before. So that's why I'm focusing a lot more on jujitsu based type of stuff recently, right? How's high ticket closing for you this week? Not too good actually. I gotta check to see how much I made, man. I don't think I made that much this week. Partially because we just decided to take a lot of time off as well. Oh, actually, not bad. No, we didn't do super well. But you know, at least there's always ups and downs. I think I only made 150 this week, which was pretty fucking shitty compared to other weeks through the high ticket closing agency. So times happen, especially during the holidays. But next week is always a new week, and I'm just gonna that's the one thing I love about sales too, is like you can just reset your week and just start over again. You don't have to it's really great because you don't have to like carry your bad week into next week. You can re-strategize, replan and stuff. But eventually I do want to kind of have other streams of income other than high ticket sales. Obviously I have my YouTube channel. I was actually going to do a video about breaking down all my income streams using the cash flow quadrant sets in that you brought up last week as well. And talking about the future endeavors that I have as well. So there's that. Dr. Lee says protein, but apparently people do the eat what you want and train super hard approach. Just don't know how safe that is. Dude, I would say great influence to follow is someone like Charles Poliquin. I like following him just for life and guidance and stuff. Like I've really just been kind of sticking the paleo route. Just meat, nuts, vegetables, that's it. And it's I've been able to increase my calories without gaining too much weight. I'm actually in the middle of losing weight right now. All this Corona weight, honestly, like Corona was the absolute worst. Even though I cut my calories like quite a bit, it's still like the inactivity, gets to you. If you're not working out, if you're not doing strength training, it's definitely harder to stay in shape as well. What is happening? Lol, you use Comcast. Set in barbell training and chicken, says Armor Ghost. What if I already eat what I want? Well, Seton, you're a young kid, so you probably can get away with any of that as well. Starting strength is generally agreed upon as a good technique. Barbell medicine is a cool source for programming as well. Starting strength is like the classic. Mark Ripto, I believe I have his book somewhere. It's one of the first things I looked. There's a lot of different programs like Bill Stars, like 5x5, all these OG programs. Personally, for me, I like 531 the most, just because very safe movements, and they focus on it's the I mean, advanced powerlifters use it. Basic people who are just going into powerlifting use it. I mean, Jim Wendler, he's a part of Westside Barbell. I mean, he designed the program as well, and I love the boring but big routine. And there's a lot of apps on your phone too that you can use to do that as well. So yeah. C Foxy 3 says, "Is pharmacy school worth it today?" I don't believe so, and I'm going to be shooting a video using facts and figures rather than, because like a lot of time I talk about my personal experience. I literally have the video all scripted out and stuff, FYI. So gonna be showing you that. And I pulled up articles. I pulled up like actual facts and figures too about why I would probably avoid pharmacy altogether in 2020, and give some alternatives to pharmacy as well. I think that video is going to go viral, by the way, if I do it. So it's just making sure that it's edited well and all that as well. So yeah. I'll take note of that, Armor Ghost. By the way, I've never heard of barbell medicine before, but gotta check that out too. But even when I first started lifting, I used to go to this forum called ironaddicts.com, and I've just been like browsing that recently and just going back to my basics when I was at my strongest and just implementing that training. I think one of the worst things you can do too is like overtrain too much, right? And not eat enough. Like, yeah, and that's where really having a good coach comes into play as well. If you don't have a coach and you can't afford one, that's okay. But there's this great article like how to train yourself by Wesley Silvera. I love that article. How to train yourself. Let me pull it up. And I'll drop it in the in the in the chat really quick so you can take a look at that. Let's see. Wow, the chat is freaking lit today, guys. What are keys to happiness? It was really interesting. By the way, for those 8 people who haven't liked this video, make sure to smash that like button if you're not driving, man. Don't want you to get in a car accident, but would really appreciate it. Especially if I don't even know if the dislike bots are still after me, man. After the last video, I thought I was gonna tank. I took screenshots of everything, but we'll see what happens to this week. Just because it's one video, maybe they missed it. But oh man, I hope there's no more dislike bots, to be honest with you. Keys to happiness. Honestly, I was talking about this with my brand, the brand strategist, like about a week or 2 ago, and we were talking about like the core pillars of myself, right? And really, at the end of the day, I believe like the core pillars, like the things that you need to focus on, the areas that you need to focus on, are health, wealth, and relationships. And out of those 3, I would say relationships is, for myself, relationships are the most important, because if you have good relationships, they will help you. You can find training buddies that will improve your health. If you have good relationships, then you can do business with other people and actually work with other people to start businesses as well. And so I believe personally having great relationships is one of the most important things. And it's been somewhat true in my life right now, especially in quarantine, because yes, I have Zoom, yes, I have all these things, but I really miss human interaction a lot. And when I was in quarantine a lot, before I was doing jujitsu, I was just really depressed. I was very sad, and honestly, like, lacking that connection really made me feel depressed. And I haven't felt this depressed in a long time. And even right now, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, even for 4th of July or holidays, not having anybody to spend it with, man, it can be really, really rough. But luckily we have internet, and I've just been talking to my friends like Tom and Matt all the time, and like other people as well. But that's the one good thing as well. Like I've just been talking to a lot of people via online. So those are key. I think those are major keys to happiness. Obviously there's more to that, but that's the basic core pillars that you should focus on. How long does it take to be a pharmacist, including internship and so on? Really depends. I think like straight out, dude, I even heard there's 5-year programs, which is freaking crazy. But typically it takes about 6 years if you're straight out of high school. About uh, it could take 7 to 8 years total if you don't go straight from high school. It really depends. But yeah, I mean, you can do that. That's kind of like the timeline essentially. If you do go to grad school like pharmacy route, usually it's like I've heard people like transfer into a grad program at 3 years, so it's a total of like, I don't know, total of like 7 or 6 years. But a lot of people do their undergrad, like get their degree, and then go into pharmacy as well. Honestly, I don't see much of a, like if you're going in from a science, if you have like a bachelor's or anything like that in science, like a BS, I don't really see that much benefit from actually like just going straight into your pharm D. Maybe if you're like, I don't know, had an MBA or something like that, that would be probably decent, but I don't know. Kevin, do you still do high ticket sales? I do high ticket sales. What are my main sources of income? So I do high ticket sales. That is my main source of income. I do make money off this channel, off affiliates and what's that called? AdSense as well off this channel. I do have recurring like commissions from one of my clients as well, because they pay out recurring commissions. What else? There's some other things too. What else? What did I write on my video? Let me see. I mapped this out. Um, Obviously, yeah, there is like the investment part, but I don't really consider that as a significant income, because like honestly at the end of the day it has to affect cash flow, right? If you're investing for retirement, I don't consider that significant at this moment. Yes, it's kind of like money later as well. And I would say that's majority of my income at the moment, right? And here's the thing, you don't need 10 billion sources of income as well, right? Like income streams. Like that's one thing that kind of bothers me these days, like seeing all these videos is like, yeah, you could say that you have 500 streams of income by investing into S&P 500, and maybe 501 by asking your mom too, right? But honestly, it doesn't matter, because it has to be significant sources of income, and there's no way that you can focus on like numbers like 13 sources of income unless you've been building it over time. So especially when I see really, really young people like talk about their sources of income, it always not makes me question, but it always makes me wonder. Like I always ask, how did you build that, and how significant are these sources of income as well, right? Because numbers can always be manipulated. You just got to ask the right questions a lot of time as well. Um, Dr. Lee says, watch your protein and carb content. Probably increase the protein and mind your carbs. I wonder if there's nutritionists in here. Charles Poliquin always talks about earn your carbs, right? He's a strong believer of no carbs altogether. Probably as someone your age setting, you can probably handle the carbs, but honestly, uh, I don't really care about like total absolute strength at this point in my life. I just care about overall longevity and stuff like that too. And so I'm not going to eat any carbs until I'm at a low enough body percent fat essentially, right? And so that's where I want to hit. And my camera is going freaking crazy right now. Thank you for that like, and even that 1% who disliked, thank you, I guess, for improving my engagement. Holy crap. Dude, I feel like my stream is falling apart today. Holy shit. It's all good. Um Armor Ghost asked about carnivore diet. Is it closer to what the ancient ancestors ate? I've seen things on carnivore diet. I really think there's only just one way to find out, is just do it, right? I feel like by nature, like naturally, we're probably closer to a paleo diet, where it's less refined. There's no refined grains and all that sort of stuff. But it depends where you are. There's so many, like, it depends where you are. I was listening to Charles Poliquin, and he was saying like, the closer you are to the equator, the more you can tolerate carbs, and the further you're away, you don't. So apparently Serbians, uh, what was what was I can't remember the exact people, but there's certain races that can actually handle higher carbs as well, depending on depending on where your ancestors are from as well. But that was the general rule. So, is it legit? I don't know, but he's way smarter than I was. I was at this, and he does this for a living, and he trains Olympic athletes as well. So, there's that. Dr. Lee in the hell. Taste and Travel Curiously says, long time. Take care. Hey, thank you, Taste and Travel. Really appreciate you, my man. I used to use MyFitnessPal to track stuff like that. Maybe I'll give it another go. Absolutely give it another go, man. I think it's important to just track your macros. If you don't know how to track your macros too, it takes a little refining, because like a macro calculator won't always teach you, tell you what the macros you want. There's really cool macro calculators, like it'll tell you if you want to do a keto diet, or if you want to do like certain ratio, and it'll break it down, and it'll ask your exercise level too. So it'll give you a rough idea, but you have to really monitor your weight and body percent fat to see if you gotta monitor your body percent fat too, to really assess whether it's working or not as well. But I'm really bad at it too, man. I mean, I think one of the things that I struggle with is honestly consistency. And one thing that's been really helping me more recently is just listening to constant podcasts while I'm sleeping, with lectures, talks from Charles Poliquin. I'm on a Charles Poliquin like craze right now, because, you know, when I first got into fitness and all that sort of stuff, that was the person I listened to a lot. I even have some of his OG books, like Ask the Coach, and he talks about high dose fish oils and all that sort of stuff as well. But he actually died from a genetic, I think some sort like cardiac arrest, maybe about 2 years ago. But it's genetic, and that's what kind of motivated him to find a healthier state of living or being as well. So, yeah, man, and he's dealt with so many people. But you gotta keep in mind, all of us are not trying to be Olympians and stuff like that, right? Chances are, if you're watching this channel, probably not training to be an Olympian. I'd be very grateful if like anybody was an Olympian and watching my channel, but there's that. Powerlifting, yes. Strength heavy, probably a lot of burst exercises. Somebody said engaging certain muscles. What kind of muscle twitch is in vogue? So yeah, I'm a very strength training type of person, by the way. I'm very pro strength training. I think everybody needs it. And especially like doing things like jujitsu. I mean, you know, when somebody's really strong, even though they're a white belt, they can be super hard to tap. You need to be more technical, and sometimes you'll still lose because they have you beat by strength, and strength is the amplifier for everything. So I think that is one of the most important things as well. Armor Ghost asks, does Kevin like wine? I actually don't drink at all. Fun fact, I never drank in my life. So I don't drink. I don't partake in alcohol or any of that sort of stuff, man. I don't buy into it. Primal diet is controversial. Balance is key in my honest opinion. Yeah. Although Joe Rogan, he started doing it. He started losing weight on it, but long term, I don't know if it's a great idea. I subscribe to paleo, more of a paleo type of thing. Paleo keto type of diet as well. And not to say that you can't eat your carbs, but honestly, for myself, I mean, like, I'm really fat at this moment, so I'm just trying to shut off that quarantine weight at the moment, and so no carbs for me for a while, man. Until I lean out a bit. Kevin sells high ticket mass stylish N95 certified. Yeah, man. Have you guys heard, by the way, too? There's a lot of fake masks out there too, that people are selling. So if somebody's promising you N95, be careful, y'all. And this, by the way, this stream's lit today. We got 19 people, 21 savages in the house. make sure to smash that like button if you haven't, and or more importantly, yeah, smashing the like button's cool, but I would actually love for you guys to drop a comment too, so I can find some sort of way to help you guys or connect or something. I just love the engagement in here too. It's been lit today, probably because most people are off during the weekend, but yeah. Armor Ghost says, right back at you, OG. You're the original. I want to host a TED Talk here in Illinois, and my application was rejected. So I wanted to get in touch with you so you can connect me with your friend who hosted one before. About connecting with my friend, my friend Tina, she's actually relatively busy. I think if you connect with her on LinkedIn, you can message her through there or something like that. I'm always kind of wary about like connecting people directly too, just because especially they're busy and stuff as well. So Nicole, what I recommend, go through her LinkedIn as well. You can definitely find her there. So there's that. Kevo, do you have buds working in IT? Wow, this freaking chat is fucking lit right now. Holy crap. Armor Ghost says, do you have buds working in IT? How do they feel about it? I don't. Do I have any friends that work in IT? Like, I have friends in IT consulting that did systems integration and whatnot. One of my really good friends, he was a developer at one point, and then he transitioned in consulting. So he liked it, but I mean, it changes there's a certain personality for IT, and like my friend was telling me, when he jumped in consulting, it totally changed his personality to where he had to develop a lot of people skills essentially. But I don't know too many people that work in IT. Refugee hustle coaching, getting big getting big to get the ABG. I had to break that down. Armor Ghost, pretty funny stuff. ABG, baby. Her name is Tina Huynh. Yes, Tina. Is BJJ closed due to COVID? I'm not sure about the current rules. I gotta check that out before I pack up my bags tomorrow. I've been training, but gyms are starting. If the gyms close again, I wouldn't be surprised, because people are saying that there's like a second outbreak of corona as well. No. His name is Robert Paulson. When looking to outreach on LinkedIn, what do I search for to find high ticket clients to connect with, to close for? LinkedIn, it depends, right? You gotta think of, like, for a second, like just take a step back and think about like what kind of clients you want, right? And keep in mind, the more that you're in the industry, the easier it is to find gigs. Like, I get people asking me if I'm looking for a gig at this point, because I've kind of proven myself in the industry, but it's getting your foot in. I would say, like, depending, if you want to do like a more traditional route, it might make sense to do more of a Jake. It might make sense to do more of a like formal job application as well, just as a sales rep, to build up your sales numbers. That way you can start building up your track record and talking about that experience when you go on interviews as well. So that's one way to start out. If you want to go more the freelancing route and YOLO, like remote life, something like Upwork might be really good. You're looking for inbound closer, you're looking for a sales rep, you're looking for these type of things as well. And you guess what? You might have to do a little bit outbound. I was lucky I didn't have to do it. I just jumped right into inbound. I was super lucky. But I can't recommend that to everyone as well. And there's also remote job boards too that you might want to check out. I see a few different opportunities every single day. The real concern is whether you can actually deliver, and if somebody will take a chance on you. If you can really emphasize the point that you're there long term, you're there to grow, and you don't lie about your experience as well. Like, because there's people that will just be like, I can close anything. Well, how much have you closed? And they're like, dude, what do you care about? Results or track record? Obviously they care about fucking both, right? So you need to be able to demonstrate that as well when you're talking. And people know. I mean, it's not like people, experienced closers from an inexperienced closer too. And I would say like I'm just intermediate. I'm not, or maybe novice even. Like I would say I'm pretty novice, man. Like I'm better than average, like a complete newbie, but I've always been very open toward learning and stuff like that too. So I'm always adjusting like my communication styles as well. So that's kind of like something you got to think about too. Where's your ideal client located? What are they focused on? And I hate the word influencer because influencer is not the right term for it. Yeah, they could be a YouTube influencer, but not every YouTube person is going to have a high ticket program. Let's be honest here, right? And so they're your client, they're under your protection. That's why I use that word. So if you hear the word client, that's the word I always use. A high ticket soap made with human fat. The salt bonds have to be just right. Oh, if only I could turn these freaking love handles into high ticket soap, my brother. How do you recommend someone become a high ticket closer without taking Dan Locke's HTC program? I actually have a guide coming out with it. I titled the video how to become a high ticket how to get into high ticket sales without taking a high ticket program. So stay tuned for that. That should be coming up. My phone's blowing up. Friends are calling, but it's all good. I'm gonna spend this time with y'all. So yeah, stay tuned for that, Brad. I have a whole article on it with resources and all that. Everything from like learning the skill. It's gonna be hard to learn the skill just from books, by the way. Like you need experience. Oh fuck! Holy shit! I almost fell. Um. So there's that, and then there's also like how to get your first client too. So should answer your question too, Jake. Just having my editor go through it and edit it through. So I'm probably gonna top off his funds relatively soon. But this month has been really good YouTube wise for me, honestly. Through like AdSense and stuff like that too. Uh, Somebody asked about my dad. My dad's actually passed away. What's your view on a single payer system versus privatized insurance? Um, Man, I really think PBMs and all that sort of stuff have kind of gotten out of control. To be honest with you, um, I with seeing how like I don't really know, to be honest. I don't really have a strong opinion, but honestly, like especially being in a I do see the downsides of having like a universal single payer like healthcare system, but the truth is like there's the problem of reimbursement to healthcare professionals and stuff like that. We want to make sure that they're compensated appropriately, but at the same time, it's like the I believe like certain things in healthcare should be taken care of because it's just going to benefit society altogether, right? As well, like if you like, it just has downstream effects if people don't have access to care as well. And guess what? I'm speaking out my ass, so I don't really know how to go. So that's what I'm thinking. High ticket cars for dealership. You can't do that. A lot of people actually start out in dealership sales, but it's different. It's so different because I met people who sold cars who are in the industry right now, but it's different. There's an adjustment period. You gotta be able to cater to the client that you're speaking to, right? For me, I like doing more B2B because people are tend to be more serious as well. They tend to be more serious and they're just like when you're doing B2C or people who are like every like the mass population, it's more difficult because they're not necessarily most educated buyers as well, right? And since it's such a mass market, it's hard to identify. Like you're meeting all sorts of people, like all over a place, and they might not appeal to your particular offer and stuff like that, or what your solution you're having. So it's very difficult, like because here's the truth: like when you're dealing with like Fortune 500 companies, you never got to worry if they have money or not. They probably have a budget allocated, right? But you don't need to go about money. You assume the money as well. But there are like hints that you can ask, like, I mean, what's your current budget on like how much you currently spend on your ad spend or your marketing at the moment, right? What sort of solutions have you invested in so far? What are you doing right? So like, there's a lot of secondary type of things that you can get, rather than asking how much do you want to allocate to this product, because it kind of shifts, right? As well, you gotta understand the context as well too. But sometimes, like B2C, they don't really understand that nuance, because it doesn't matter how much something costs or not. If it doesn't solve your problem, it doesn't matter as well, right? Um, let's see. Uh, that's not remote. How's the dating scene in? I'm gonna block this fucker as well. Thank you, Satin, for filtering everything as well. Uh, let's see. Oh man, we got Wendy in the house. I love you too, man. Wendy, you're actually one of my really close friends from pharmacy school. So it's great seeing you. It's great seeing you in the chat as well. How's the dating scene in LA? Dating scene is I don't know, dude. Like honestly, I'm not actively dating in LA, so I don't think anybody is. I mean, maybe there's some Tinder hookups or something like that. Maybe that's how Corona's spreading, but definitely have no clue. Um, Fun fact: you should probably ask my friend Brian, because he's always like, he just started this YouTube channel called Subtle Asian Voices, but it was initially called Subtle Cantonese Dating. But he talks about dating topics all the time, so he would be in the know. Hey everyone, you can check my interview with Kevin on the channel Hypto Show. It was super fun and learned so much from that guy. I actually had a lot of fun on your podcast too. Nathan, feel free to shoot me a link. I'll blast it out on my email list or something like that too. So and all that. Let's see. Wendy C Genetics. Eli Thomas, you troll. Absolutely, I get a lot of trolls on this channel too, man. And honestly, it's just annoying, man, and it just distracts from everything. But it's all good. Kevin has getting those for weeks somehow. Yeah, I don't know what really caused everything, to be honest with you, with the trolls. It's been kind of demotivating, but at the same time, like one of the things I realized too is like, Dr. Lee, you hit it on the head, by the way. It was really detracting from my focus of really helping people. And it wasn't until I hired an editor from the Philippines and was kind of a part of his life, like being able to pay out like a family in the Philippines, man, really changed my perspective. So having more of a team aspect really kind of really made me look at my channel very differently, because like, yeah, I don't make a lot on this channel, and I'm reinvesting every single cent back into the channel too. But there's something that kind of shifted, and I just want to do more of it. I just want to impact people more. And I was getting too lost in my own thoughts about like, oh man, this is affecting me, when it's really like, dude, I created this channel to help people feel connected, to just really relate with people, because there's not too many channels out like that. Some really great channels right now are Ice One Cubed. I love him. Frank, he is such a freaking good guy, and I look up to him a lot in terms of YouTube and stuff like that too. So there's that. Did you see the Air Jordan 1 Dior? No, I did not see that, my brother. Just got it out. Slow day at the farm. Sorry to hear. That's awesome, man. I know, like, oh yeah, those are in pharmacy. How's the farm market doing? Like, are you guys getting furloughed? A few of my friends actually got furloughed recently, and it's been really, really rough on them. Nicole says, thanks a lot. I understand. I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, no problem, Nicole. Feel free and reach out to me if you have any other questions, Nicole, as well. But yeah, I just have to really respect that connection too. Nothing against you, but there's that. Thoughts on dating sites, says Wendy C. Dude, Wendy, when was the last time you were on a dating website? Honestly, I'm from NY, where dating is impossible. Dude, I've heard really bad stories about dating in New York. Like, I heard, like, okay, so there's a few things I've heard about New York, and I can attest to this a little bit. Other than Wendy, there's a lot of mean people in New York. Second thing, I heard black is their favorite attire, by the way. Everybody wears, like, black there and whatnot. And I heard that everybody has a psychologist down there, too. So mental health is a huge thing. I wouldn't be surprised, too, being in such close proximity all the time with people, it kind of can drive you really, really mad. And feeling like that feeling of being, I don't know if New York has this problem. I know LA has this problem where it's like there's a lot of different people, but you feel so alone in such a big city, especially right now in the whole quarantine type of thing as well. And it's just like that's really tough. NYC is a tough dating crowd, says Dr. Lee. Hi Kevin, there's 10 Tina on LinkedIn, but thanks anyway. Nicole, shoot me another email. I'll see if I can get Tina's like LinkedIn, and she can decide whether she wants to help you out or not. I can't speak on behalf of Tina, so I don't prefer it. I've heard many success stories. It's definitely interesting. I've gained so much experience and learned so much about myself. Yeah, I mean, honestly, okay. So what's really interesting, man, is like, dude, I am fucking scarred from dating, man. Like, I am absolutely scarred. I was talking to my good friend Matt about this, and I was like, man, I freaking need therapy. So, like, absolutely, I definitely have PTSD from my dating experiences too. I'm pretty sure that they're not the worst stories and stuff, but they definitely do affect me to this day. I think like through relationships and stuff, like more romantic relationships. One, don't take advice from me because obviously my track record is horrible, right? But two, I think through relationships, any type of relationships, like you just learn so much about yourself. You learn your communication styles, and it's not like you wake up woke one day and you're just like, man, I know everything about relationships. It's like you start realizing your tendencies. So like for myself, I'm pretty, although I'm very open and stuff. Like when I'm in heat, when I'm in a heated discussion, like I tend to avoid. Right, my personality is avoidant. You know how some people like always say like, no, let's handle it right here. Like if you let me go on my natural path, I'm like, no, fuck this. I don't want to talk to you. Like I'm done. I'll talk to you when I'm calm, right? But I have to force myself to be aware of that and just be like, grit my teeth and just be like, you know what? You're right. We need to talk about it right now. It's like that awareness over time as well. So I think dating is like one of those mediums. It's just like jujitsu or any other thing like where it's a medium or a vehicle where you just better understand yourself. But yeah, man. Uh Armor Ghost says Wendy go. I need to have Wendy on like a freaking podcast sometime, man. Like she has probably has tons of stories too. Thank you, Kevin. Jake says thank you. Just looking for the best thing to search for to find possible clients, man. Yeah, Jake, no problem, man. I think you emailed me not too long ago. Actually, man, I'm not sure if I sent you a rough draft for my article or not, but definitely it will be coming out. I like will guarantee that to you. It will. It is. It's like already shot. It just needs to be edited by my editor in the Philippines. So we'll see that. Have you seen War Dogs? An interesting look in the high ticket sale of weapons. No, I've heard of it before. Thank you. Someone told me that they have like 5 boyfriends and girlfriends. Uh so far more likes and dislikes, man. I'm pretty blessed about that, man. I'm pretty sure that, so one thing I have been doing is like I've been screenshotting the initial like ratios like during my streams and stuff too. Just so that I have something to go toward YouTube and stuff. Because like honestly when I go YouTube I'm just like I'm getting hit by dislike bots. They're gonna ask like what happened. So I'm just looking for the trend. Like what day does this happen? How many days does this happen? Is this aligned to all the other days too? I might throw my assistant on this, man, because like honestly, so fucking exhausting trying to track all these numbers too, man. So there's that. Hours got cut, turbo cut. Less people taking vacation equal less hours for open for floaters. You know, my brother actually got promoted recently to PIC, but one of the things I have been hearing too is that they've been firing experienced hires and then rehiring pharmacists that will work for like $41 per hour. That's what RX Comedy was saying. My boy Maurice. Is that actually happening? I would love to kind of hear if you've heard that those stories happening, but I can absolutely imagine that. And just to give you context, $41 an hour at what, like 32 hours per week? Let's call it 32 hours per week, a time 52. is like 70, let's round up 70K per year. So that is really, really rough for new grads. If we're assuming 32 is full time. But if we're doing a typical 40-hour week, then what? That bumps up to 85. So we're talking about sub six figs. It is not looking too good in pharmacy. And it's just like, man, if you pay 200K for this sort of debt, then you're in for a rude awakening, and it's not where it used to be. I was actually talking to LeVar Walker, man. He is a really interesting guy. He is a stand-up comedian, and he's met like all the top comics like Kevin Hart and all these other people. There's like if you go on his channel, he has this segment where he makes Kevin Hart cry laughing, dude. It's pretty freaking crazy. And he was talking about we're just talking about how pharmacy is so different. I mean, he got a sign-on bonus back when he first started pharmacy, and now like, dude, you're even lucky to even get a job like with this negative growth in pharmacy too. So, you know, that'll probably be one of the first videos I shoot. There are a few factors I think it is to consider if you're going to go into pharmacy, especially in 2020. Not saying that no one should go into it, but like if you are, like, pretty much the main thing is like, don't go into it blind. Go into it for a really focused reason as well. Whew. Tony says, do you still recommend HTC? Depends what you need. As far as the sales training, if he's I don't know how much he's charging. I've been out of the community for a while. I'll put it like this. It helped me kind of, I never took HTC thinking that I would get a return on it, which I did. It's not just from affiliate commission. It's just like, this is what I do full time as well. It helped lubricate that thing into sales for me, which made it really, really addicting. And it was a great personal development journey for me. Now, can I guarantee that it's going to happen to everyone? No, because there's a lot of people that failed. I mean, out of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I talked to, I mean, out of my personal circle, I mean, I only know like maybe 3 people that are closing with me. But keep in mind, I'm not like, that's my experience, right? So it's really hard, the game of sales and stuff. You gotta just find the right opportunity, find the right client, and it's just very difficult, like, because that's the hardest part. You gotta find the right client. And you know, people do need sales, but here's the truth. You're not, when you take on a client, it's not as easy to say as like, oh, I'm at no risk to you. No, you're costing them ad spend. No, you are like costing, there's opportunity cost for a potential sale too. So that's something really important to consider. So I would only go into it if you're absolutely certain, like for a certain reason that you want to go into it. But like, honestly, I can't really say because I don't know your experience. I don't know where you're coming from. If you have previous sales experience, I say just try to get on an offer and just model what other people are doing, and that's the best way. And then leverage that sales experience too, or leverage that experience that you have. So it's just like the first thing. Your first time is always tough, right? Like, it's always tough in anything you do, whether it's like yeah, it's always tough doing things the first time. But once you have proof of concept, once you develop that initial result, you can always leverage that to go into other fields as well. Ironically, retail is good for me right now. 40 hours a week, whole year so far. My hospital friend got cut. Yeah, a few of my hospital friends got furloughed actually. So that's been pretty rough. And that's the dream job too for pharmacy. So the truth is like a lot of hospitals right now are just like in the dumps right now financially as well. Like, COVID has been really tough for a lot of these hospitals and every sort of business as well. We're starting to see it. It's definitely a thing. New grads are willing to take any job in the environment when they have 100K plus loans, it's a lose-lose situation for them. I don't blame them for taking that job, but there has to be, that's the thing. That's why people are advocating unions. And I like me being in a union. I wouldn't say that's the solution all the time. If you think a union will always fight for you, like, maybe the theory sounds great, but not always. Like, honestly, when I was in a union, I was getting a little bit lower than market fair value as well. because there's administration costs for a union too and stuff, and typically you can negotiate better than a union as well. But when it's a union, it's just flat. It's like no negotiation. That's it. And it's just like, man, it's just really rough. But it also it also protects you too, because it's like, okay, at the same time, you know that people aren't gonna undercut you and make sure that and like make sure that people pretty much Chinatown methods you, like price wars yourself, and then it's a lose-lose for everyone. So I don't know, there's been talks about that, talks about rights and stuff, but honestly at the end of the day, um there's the sad truth is like we have to, if you're a pharmacist, you just gotta stand up too, like if you really believe in these sort of things. And unfortunately that's like your job on the line too, because they can always, it's not like we have a lot of leverage to stand up as well. So it's just really really difficult, and what we can do is make a ruckus. I mean, that's pretty much all we can do. But it's a really tough environment for pharmacists right now, and that's why I say, like, it's not always the best decision to go into a field like this. So especially when I believe the stats say like 70% of jobs are actually in retail as well. So that's really something to consider. It's definitely a thing. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. Retail will be low wage / high turnover reservoirs for pharmacies waiting for to grab a hospital or other job. Think of it as transient position, or people will stay helpless or hopeless. You want to see the most depressing thing? Talk to a pharmacist who has been in the game for like, I don't know, 10 plus years. It's really 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 depressing. Like you'll see it. It's super super depressing. So there's that. Um, they're just really depressed all the time as well. I'm confident, like like Kevin, me, and even Maurice Shaw dedicate ourselves to transitioning people in a healthy way, pass to a more fulfillment in life, and utilizing your talents and become indispensable. That was Alex Barker's book and stuff. I never got a chance to read it, but essentially I agree. And it's really interesting, like somebody actually came up to me and asked me, and they offered to pay me for my time to really consult about their situation. So I'm not saying I'm going to charge for this person or not, but it's just really interesting, the people that kind of look up to me and stuff, because like in my mind I'm just like, guys, like some days, some weeks I'm absolutely killing it, some days I'm absolutely shitting the bed. But one thing one thing I do not like regret is making the jump. And I know I joke with people, like people are like, really, you feel that way about pharmacy? But I tell my friends, like, dude, I'd rather commit seppuku than go back to pharmacy. And you don't know what seppuku is, look it up. Oh, well, it's pretty much the samurais used to do it back in the day. Like, rather than surrender themselves, they used to disembowel themselves with their samurai swords and stuff. But that's kind of like that's how graphic it is for me to go back to pharmacy, because I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but once you have that taste of freedom, you'll do anything to fight it. Like I like, you just figure out a way, because I don't want to go back to that life. It was like prison for me every single day. And those who practice pharmacy kind of understand what I mean by it. It works well for certain people. Like, I interviewed my friend. She was like super, super happy. Like, okay, so in not this week's Weekly Hustle, but the next episode of Weekly Hustle after that, I think episode 5 maybe, or 6, I actually interview my friends, or I check up on my friends via text, and they tell me about how they're feeling about pharmacy. Just was like, just really interesting. One of my friends actually transitioned out all the way, and she talked about like her experience, like, as well. But also, there was like another pharmacist who was super happy. Another friend was like, dude, pharmacy is soul sucking, and gets even more soul sucking once you have a family too. Very interesting insights. You should definitely, I'll split that episode up so you guys can watch it. But yeah, man, like it was very insightful. I'm hoping to get that up and launched like by next week as well. So there's that. Who do you go to if the pharmacy manager is a POS and their top boss in the farm day and in and out? Do you pharmacists have a way to complain to corporate? Yes. You can complain to the supervisor or district manager. There's usually one up over the pharmacy manager. Now, what you need to do if you're gonna escalate a situation is like there's a few things, right? You need to document how exactly they're being a POS. I know it's a pain in the ass, but you have to do it because the first thing that if you escalate the situation, the first thing they're gonna ask you is like, well, how is this manager a POS? They're not gonna ask you like that, but they're gonna be like, okay, how exactly was XYZ being rude to you, right? So you have to document it, right? And document exact actions. And it fucking sucks. And you document the time, you do all that, right? Okay. And you're just like, okay, great. Next thing they're going to ask you is, did you actually talk to this person about this issue, right? And how did they resolve it if they did? Obviously, it was not resolved, but you need to be able to have that conversation to them and just be like, hey, I tried speaking to them about it. They said that they would do this, but nothing happened, right? And I brought it up like at least two more times, nothing happened. So that's why I'm escalating up to you because this is important, right? That way you have like a track record, you have some sort of evidence because believe it or not, corporate sucks because there is no feel, there's no any of that. You need concrete actions and data. And that was something I was really bad at as well. Like I had really great I had a lot of great supervisors actually back in the day. Some of them really cool. One of them does jujitsu, black belt Machado, man. And then I had a POS one too who was very passive aggressive and stuff. And the passive aggressive ones are the hardest to deal with because it's kind of like hard to point a finger at or what exactly they're doing as well. So that's the tough part, my man. So there's that. But you know that's how I would handle it as well. But yes, you can go to HR if they're harassing you. You can all if they say something super unprofessional, you can go HR. You can go to your supervisor as well. That's what they're there for as well. So that's what I would do. If anybody has any input, by the way, make sure to drop it in the comments too. It's been a while since I've been in corporate. Harm to patients, complain of board of pharmacy, harm to yourself, leave and activate your contingency plan. That is true. Board of pharmacy, that is a tough one. The board of pharmacy is a tough one because I don't know. I honestly don't believe like board of pharmacy always like protects our patients as well. But I mean, you can always threaten to do that. But yeah, so that's something that you could do too. Nice insight, Dr. Lee. Need to be ready to lose your job if you escalate. Lol. No. I think there's like whistleblower like protections as well. Although they might terminate you for another reason. But if you go through the official, if you handle it professionally, like as well, it's just like, you know, you have this concern and it's important. Um, so that's the problem with corporate because if they don't like you, they don't like you. They're gonna find a way to get rid of you. But hopefully, it won't need to go through that. Just like talk to your fucking POS pharmacist, and it's just like if they ask you why did you escalate it, and you're just like, what else? What else could I have done? I've already addressed this issue 3 times, right? What would you do in my situation, right? So I think it's important, right? But yeah. How do you rank these issues in pharmacy in order of importance from most important to least important? Too many schools, no jobs, low reimbursement, lack of unique skill set compared to healthcare professionals, lack of unity among pharmacists, any other issues that crack your top five? I would say first and foremost, those are some really good questions. I'm just trying to think like so here's my thought process. I'm trying to think of the one thing that is the root cause of everything. And what's the real root cause of everything? Why like I think a huge concern right now for a lot of people is that there's not enough jobs, right? Because if we could somehow figure out how to increase all the jobs altogether, I mean, would it really matter if schools were pumping out PharmDs? If we could expand our role, expand the impact that we have on the healthcare system, that wouldn't be a problem. And I think one of the things as well is like, well, there's a decrease in jobs because maybe a lot of farm, like the way that we're getting reimbursed isn't the like isn't the best at the moment as well. Um, I gotta think about that, Shigo, because that is really a great question, but I don't think I would need to think about that, to be honest with you. There's because all those are issues at the end of the day, and it's just like, what is the one biggest issue? I think that's what you're asking. I gotta think about that. I don't really know. Passive aggressiveness is the worst because there's not only one or two things exactly. Yeah, so that's really tough. I've dealt with passive aggressive people. They're freaking worse. And especially like not to be like it's yeah, it's really tough to deal with passive aggressiveness, especially if you're like a little more direct. Like for myself, I just rather talk things out rather than just be passive fucking aggressive all the time. But it's just the nature of the business sometimes too. And that's like what corporate does. Like there's all this passive aggressiveness I don't really agree with. Been hearing stories that stores with possible COVID cases are just having floater techs RPHs filled the next day after a potential discovery. Whether these floaters are informed of the hazard is ambiguous. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's gonna be, guys, there's probably gonna be a huge case, like a lot of cases of lawsuits coming out over once this whole COVID thing kind of settles down as well. I wouldn't be surprised, right? People are going to be suing left and right, but they're just gritting their teeth at the moment because that's what needs to be done at the moment. But I pretty sure there's going to be a lot of lawsuits coming out relatively soon. Uh, it's the opposite of seppuku. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Oh man. Okay, guys. My voice is starting to cut out. I gotta edit some more of these videos before the weekend's up. I gotta make sure that Kick-Ass Investing goes live. Really finalize my emails. Really finalize a lot of different things. So gotta make sure everything's gotta get back to work. But I just want to say before I sign off, it's really been a pleasure to just be able to serve with you guys, man. Just really be able to connect with y'all. I appreciate every single one of you guys for keeping a positive community here. Like even though like I've been getting harassed with like dislike bots and stuff like that, I just want to say like I really, from the bottom of my heart, I really really do appreciate all of you guys as well, right? Who are watching this, who are taking the time, because here's the most important thing, right? You can give someone money, that's great, but the one thing that you cannot get back is time, right? Once you give someone your time, it's gone, right? And you guys chose to give me the most precious gift that you guys have, your time as well. So just wanted to tell you guys that before I sign off. Seton, for some reason, it's not posting up on my. Oh yeah, now here it goes. Seton does hearts. By the way, Seton, thank you for kind of moderating the stream. I really appreciate you, my man. Yeah, so appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your night and take care and get ready for some kick-ass videos for next week or so. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Love y'all. Peace.